Hi, everyone. Sometimes, as writers, we're used to living in our own little world, and sometimes even our own little office, just like what you have here with me. But other times, we do occasionally need to reach out. Sometimes for the proverbial writing break. Others, just to get away from everything for a bit, clear your head, uh, enjoy the night, and everything else to that effect. Uh, Obviously, the writer's lifestyle is full of peaks and valleys between the creative process and the waiting period and things like that. That's why a lot of friends often joke and say that the writer's diet consists generally of caffeine and nicotine. And although that can be generally summarized as true, in my case, I do happen to have an extremely yawning moment from writing for the past 18 hours, but that's not important. What is important is I do happen to have within my repertoire the perfect secret weapon. And this comes from over 20-year friendship with my very close and good friend, Denise. Normally, at this point, I would be bringing her on to the camera, but she does not like being on film. So we're going to actually improvise a little bit, and we're going to go old school on this one. And I'm going to go ahead and, although I can't use the full terminology because it is owned by Disney, I'm going to elaborate a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and just do what we'll call, let's say, dial a chap. And let's go ahead and see what all she has to share with us for today.
Hello.
Oh, hello there.
Hello.
Hello.
Are you there?
If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and dial again.
I hear you now.
Okay.
I'm in the car, so I couldn't hear good. Yeah.
Well,
I'm driving along. So this is going to be a drive-in talk.
Okay, that's cool. Where are we going?
We're going to Publix. Do you want to go?
Oh, sure. You want to you know, give me some coffee?
Yeah. They have it in the pre-packages. They don't have a Starbucks there. You have to go to Target for that.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah. You don't like Starbucks anyway. You like Dunkin', but anyway.
Yeah, that's right. That it is what it is. We can always just work with what we have.
Yeah. That's true.
No, so now comes the fun part. After over 20 years, feel free to summarize what is it like in your opinion being best friends with an author and a writer.
Well, the thing is, being your friend, being your best friend, is anything that happens in the day is free for a buck. So if anything comes up that's a little crazy or a little funny, you're going to find yourself in a book. You might not find yourself with your name, but you're going to maybe have a fictitious name, but you're going to end up being in some kind of book in some capacity.
Yep.
So we have had some crazy things happen in our past. So, I mean, crazy stuff. Lynx is walking by us in the middle of Sample Road. Animal control people trying to shoot it down, and me screaming that I was going to call the cops and call the press, and, all kinds of things.
Which, of course, ended up in one of the volumes of Dragonsbane.
Right, that's right. So anything that happens is probably going to end up in some book, or you're going to take some pictures of me that I don't want because I'm going to be upset about my weight or something, and I'm going to have like pictures of a collage of me somewhere. So, anything's up for debate. So you got to look your best and act your best.
Well, acting your best
at all times.
Acting your best is always optional. I mean, lest we forget, and it's still a classic. There was the time that your ex-husband cued in on his CB radio and was taking orders from Burger King.
No, it was Taco Bell, and my ex-husband,
Close enough.
who was pretty much one of my closest friends. I mean, his CB was so powerful that the sprinklers at Taco Bell would pop up and down. And then, of course, there was a friend of ours who has passed away now that one time was in Baskin Robbins trying to order ice cream, and he was screaming that he was a sugar diabetic and not to serve him. And, of course, all the people that work there are looking in the sky thinking like maybe God is having a prophetic word with them because they can't figure out where the voices are coming from. So having a CB like that was that powerful was pretty funny because you could pretty much speak on anyone's loudspeaker.
Yep. And of course, it's always grounds for much fodder on the inspirational side.
Yeah, right?
So,
yeah.
No, and of course, it's always no safe bet to also agree, too, that, we do spend many of night randomly discussing tidbits throughout the day as well, catching up on memories, and occasionally even bouncing off the occasional writing idea.
Well, I don't sleep good at night, so there have been many nights that we've been on the phone and we've talked about all kinds of things, from new book ideas to homework to just all kinds of different family things. And of course, we both had pretty eventful lives, especially me. I've had some crazy stuff happen to me, and I've moved back and forth. I'm from New Jersey. I moved to Florida when I was 10. I moved to Georgia. I lived there for a while. I moved back, and because I missed home and I wanted to come home. I also worked on a cruise ship, so that's something we've had in common because you love the Titanic so much, and I worked on a cruise liner as a blackjack dealer for a year, and that was really something because I always wanted to work on a cruise liner. When I was a child, I had a childhood friend who I went on cruises with, and I always swore that I was going to work on a cruise liner, but one of the hardest jobs I ever tried to get was to work on a cruise liner because they don't like to hire a lot of Americans because they don't pay well, and a lot of Americans are not really wanting to take that type of pay. At least in those days they didn't. We're talking back in the 80s. So, and it's hard to be on a cruise liner because you work, 12 hours a day, 15 hours a day, sometimes more, and you really get very small breaks. The only time that the casino was closed is when we were in port, and let's face it, you're at sea more than you're in port when you go on a cruise. So that was a good experience. Some crazy people work on cruise ships, and the thing that's kind of hard about a cruise ship is the routine, because it's every day the same thing, the same people asking the same questions, the same people, the same music, the same menu. So it's over and over and over. So it does get kind of monotonous. It's hard. But I know that's something you love so much. You love the ocean and you love that. So
and of course the monotony is always the best example for you, because I know even to this day you cannot stand listening to Buster Poindexter singing "Hot, Hot, Hot."
Oh, gosh. Well, that song was like one of those songs you really like, and then you're dealing blackjack and you hear the Lido Deck band playing "Hot, Hot, Hot" again and again and again, and it seemed to be like one of those songs that even after it had been around for a lot of years, people would request it. It was almost like, the type of music. So that would be like what people want to go drink their Funship specials with, or their pina coladas, and listen to this calypso music. And the calypso band would always play "Hot, Hot, Hot," or, songs that are famous, that you would want to hear if you were in the Bahamas or you were somewhere like Jamaica or something.
Oh, yeah. Now, of course, though, I personally think it was always fun, considering how often we used to do some of the video wars with Facebook because of our love of rock and roll.
Gosh, it's so funny. Like, we would do this thing, like you put a song up, I put a song up, and we try to top each other. And what was really funny is the people that would watch us that I had no idea my husband actually would watch and would laugh, and we would try to put up very strange songs. And I put up one song one time, and he writes me, really? Like, why would you ever put that song up? And I'm like, you're watching me? It's the middle of the night. And it was really kind of funny that we had more of an audience, I think, than we thought.
Yeah,
which was kind of entertaining. But those were the days that you could put anything you wanted on Facebook. And now, with copyright and everything happening, fact checkers and all this stuff, it's really, you got to be so careful what you list on the internet. I mean, you don't want to hurt or offend anyone, so you got to be real careful about what you write.
Wait,
sometimes being funny is not funny as someone else.
Okay, so that means that we'll have to fact check whether or not CC DeVille is still playing guitar for Poison these days.
Well, that's been an on and off thing, so maybe that's debatable.
Okay, just so we can double check.
Yeah. Well, I think you can probably find that he is, but then he's not, and it's on and off. So
that's true. So now for this go around, I know you were one of the first people to know that I was going to actually attempt writing a crime drama as a feature film. So
right.
So you were kind of in the trenches with me when I went into that project. So first of all, I want to say thank you.
Well, you are you're very you can write anything you want to write. I know that you've pretty much concentrated on one genre, but I as far as writing, I mean, you're such a well-written author that you could write anything. I mean, you could write crime, you could write romance, you could write anything you wanted, and it would always come out perfect. So,
well, I wouldn't say too much in the way of romance, coming from a more of a historical.
Oh, you've written everything. I mean, you can't just write one type of thing and not think you're good at other stuff. I mean, if you can write horror, you can write, crime, you can write anything, and you write all kinds of stuff. You've written fiction, you've written stuff that's more true to life too. I mean, more, based on your history. So.
Yeah, we see that answer right there, and complete with the interruption. That's what always helps on giving me that extra push when I need it. So
yeah. Well, sky's the limit. You write what you feel you want to write, and you go for it. You take the chance, and you just hope that people are going to like it. And for the most part, people do.
That's true. That's very true. And of course, you have to admit it's entertaining when others get mortified, like say with Killer Journal.
Yeah, well, that I'm not the biggest horror person. Like, I don't read a lot of horror, but there are a lot of people who love it. So I'm more of the comedy, romance type. And crime stuff. I like a good whodunit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Now of course though, well, the only drawback being to that though with the whodunit one is if we combine it with the comedy, right off the bat that somewhere in that script is going to be, oh my God, Joe.
Nah.
Yeah.
Well,
somewhere.
Maybe somewhere. Yeah. But the thing is like that's hard because we don't know which one you mean. there's two. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's all right. We can always leave that to the audience choice. How's that?
Actually, it's a pretty common name, so there's probably a lot more than two, huh?
There should be, yeah.
So because it's so common, everybody in the audience is gonna go, "Hey, that's my name."
Well, hey, what do you know?
Yeah. So no one's gonna know who you mean.
No, they won't. But hey, who knows? Maybe if the right things go, then they'll have their own private fan club.
Right. That's true. That's very true.
So here's the $10 million question before you start shopping.
Okay.
So
what am I going to buy? Is that the question? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, sure. What are you going to buy?
Keto yogurt, actually.
Okay, I'll pass on that one, but
yeah.
You can always pick up some fried chicken for me though instead.
No. Okay, well, I don't eat carbs, so no fried chicken for me.
Well, that's okay. That means there's more for me then.
That's right. Yeah.
So, yeah. So here's the fun question for you. All right. After
Yes.
after I finish everything with this crime story, what genre do you think I should try to tackle next?
Oh boy. Um, I think that, well, history is always a thing with you because we know that you're a big, huge history buff and we know your background in history. So history is a good thing, and I think comedy. So either one of those is good, either
Okay.
comedy or history.
All
Yeah.
right. I could definitely take a crack at either one. See which one pops up first on the ideas.
Right. Yeah. I think it wouldn't matter. I mean, they're both be just as good as one another. So whichever one's, write them both.
Okay.
One book, you're right them both. And see how it goes. You're busy. Stay busier. Get busy.
That's true. That's very true on that one. So
Yeah.
and then so obviously the writer's process is a lot of time consuming, sometimes a lot of solitude and everything else. And one of the things I do have to acknowledge for you is how many times that you have called and have literally dragged me away from the writing to go and grab lunch and coffee. So
Well, in the past, I think we have. I think now with the lockdowns that everyone has been having, we haven't as much, but we need to start doing that again because we're pretty much able to here in Florida to pretty much go where we want. So we need to continue that, but you need to finish up all your projects first. I don't want to interrupt you too much. I mean, then it kind of makes you not finish, and you need to finish. So
no, that's true. But you have to admit though, for something like that though, it's almost like you're kind of tuned into the writer's lifestyle, so you know exactly when it's time to take that much needed break.
yeah. I mean, my house is a mecca of books. I mean, my husband is a huge book collector. He reads, and there are a lot of people like that who still read, and it's actually good for you because, I mean, come on, you want to educate yourself, pick up a book.
Exactly.
Let's face it, smart people read. So, yeah. I read a lot of internet.
Well, hey, there you go.
Yeah.
And it's all true, right?
Oh, yeah. I actually think that there's about, if there were 200 articles, I'm going to say 5 are true. That's pretty bad.
Well, hey,
so there's a big market for fiction writing these days.
Works for me.
Yeah. It's hard to know. I mean, I shouldn't make that judgment. I mean, I think that it's just tough because I remember when I was in college and when you wrote a paper, you had to have sources and you had to back up everything you wrote. You couldn't just write it on an opinion or what someone thought, and run with the story. And my teacher would have failed me if I ever did that. I mean, you definitely needed to know what you were talking about. And today, if she said, he said, they said, you can write a story and call it a fact. And that's really not the way to write. If you're going to write something true, you can't do that.
Okay, so let me go ahead and try to get this straight then, all right?
Yeah.
Okay, so does that mean that if your sister's cousin's neighbor's uncle's son stubbed his toe down the road, how would we have to go ahead and fact check it going straight down the line, or can we just kind of take that verbatim?
But you remember how stories are? You know how when someone tells someone a story and then they tell it again and they tell it again and they tell it again, it ends up being a completely different story by the time it heads on down the line. That's pretty much why you can't do that kind of thing, because you're never going to get the real story. So it's just the story switches because nobody can tell the story correctly. So it's just going to keep going down the line, and now it's a different story. Instead of him stubbing his toe, he had a car accident and he's in the hospital, or he's, or he didn't stub his toe. It was his neighbor that stubbed the toe. You don't get the real facts.
Wow. So why did his neighbor stub his toe for him?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, I don't know either. But
no, I said his neighbor stubbed their toe, and not
he
stubbed his toe for him. No. Are we allowed to say that?
Maybe. Well, if not, we just did, and it's a good example of how most of our conversations take place, anyways.
Yeah. I don't want anyone to get hurt, so nobody stubbed their toe. No one's had an accident. We're all good. So.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
Well, I know you got to go and get your keto yogurt.
Yes. Yes, I'm going to get keto yogurt and try to stay on track here.
Okay. So. And I just want to say thank you for providing your input into the writer's lifestyle.
Of course, you're a very busy person who, is very motivated, and you've been writing, most of your life. I mean, you're in high school writing, so it's something that you love, and, and that's who you are. That's, what you're made of. You're a writer, and you're a historian. So that sums it all up right there.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. So,
and you're a good friend too. So we'll add that.
Well, I certainly try my best. I will say that.
Yeah.
I can be overly blunt at times.
No, you're just silly sometimes.
Okay, well that too.
You're not blunt. You're silly. You like to joke. You're a jokester.
Oh yes, very much so.
Yeah, you're a jokester. Yeah. So.
I mean.
Okay, dear. Well, good luck with the rest of your project. And I'm here if you need anything else. You can always call me back if you need to.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll do one last story on the silly side. I think we might as well end with a good laugh. How about the time that we missed the Rapture at Barnes and Noble?
Well, everybody had been walking around saying that the world was going to end, and you and I know that that's so silly. And we were at a Barnes & Noble that actually is closed down now. It's a shame a lot of these bookstores are closing, but we were over there and we were waiting for the time to come because, this man had said, oh, it's going to be this date and this exact time. So we already knew that was just stupid. Nobody knows the date or the time or the hour. It's something like that's going to happen. So we were screaming, it's the Rapture, and flying around and skipping, and it was just so stupid. But it was one of those things that you laugh at, that you're like, how silly is this? And I was like, am I still here? I was touching my arms and stuff, and you're like, yep, we're still here. So.
Yeah. And you have to admit, it was even more fun stepping outside of the store and asking the customers coming in, did we miss the Rapture?
Yeah, but the other thing is all those movies that they've had, remember, Left Behind and stuff, when the people disappear and their clothes are left behind and nobody, and the people are like, where are we, and so I was like, we are still here, right?
Yeah, we sure are.
Oh yeah, we sure are. We sure did go from those happy times to lockdown and and viruses and all kinds of things that are happening in the world.
Yeah.
But you know what? We always make it out on top. Things happen, and we always prevail.
Yeah. And not to mention, we always keep our humor strong too, because without.
Well, you have good times and you have bad times, and with every country and all over the world, you're going to have bad times, and then you have good times. That's what you call history.
Yeah.
And you try not to repeat it. So you just move forward and you pray and you hope for the best, and I feel that with God, we always end up on the good side of things.
Yeah. Although since you mentioned we do have good times and bad times, I don't know. I think it's more Led Zeppelin than anything else. Which, by the way, it's a good album.
Yeah, it's a good song. Maybe I'll steal that or something.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm always looking for ideas for that.
Well, I'm sure I'll be happy to oblige with more. So.
I know. That's one thing that I'll be like, you'll give me a song and I'll be like, oh, that's a good idea. And then there's songs you give me that I'm like, what song is that? I'm like, where'd you find that from? It's like B-side, something I've never heard, something really underground. I've got to go look it up,
Yeah, and then that's what we always do. The old, no, I'm sorry, my playlist only runs from these 20-year periods right here.
You got to be open-minded to music. Music is something that means something to the person that wrote it, and you've got to be open-minded. There's lots of music out there that's great, and then there's music that's not so great. But you still should listen to it and try to be open-minded.
I can't agree more. So
yeah.
Well, definitely, Denise. Thank you for letting me yap at your ear and do some reminiscing together.
Okay, I appreciate it, and good luck, and I will talk to you later.
All righty, that you will.
All right.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Well, I hope that definitely helped on providing some input and some insight into pretty much the other side of the writer's lifestyle. So, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me.